did a little challenge for myself where I read books that are very different from the books that I usually read. So I did a whole video reading for a week sci-fi, which was really fun, and I had such a blast reading from things that I'm so unfamiliar with, and I ended up loving both of the books that I read in that vlog. So I thought to continue this little series where I would pick up books that are outside of my comfort zone, and for this specific video I want to pick out romances. I just finished reading The Bell Jar, and that was a depressing couple of days, and so I really want to gravitate towards something that is a little bit more light. I don't like romances, or at least contemporary romances, too much, and I think one of the reasons why is because oftentimes I find the writing just to be a little bit too cringy. I could never imagine what is written in a romance book, or a lot of the romance books that I've read in the past, being said out loud. I also am not really that interested in reading about two people in love for some reason. I find romances to be just boring for me personally. I don't really care about two people getting together. And so I think that's another reason. And just in general, I think most of the romances that I've read in the past are just not very well written. But I'm willing to give romances another shot. And I have two books for this week that I think are actually going to be books that I will really enjoy, because both of these are from authors that I've read before. And in fact, they're both part of series that I will be completing by reading these two books. So the first series is actually a duology. I read the first book in this duology I think about a year ago, and that is So This Is Love by Tracy Andreen. So the first book in this series is So This Is Christmas. I read it about a year ago on Christmas, and it was not my favorite romance, but I did enjoy the Christmas vibes that it brought me, and I thought that the characters were really cute, so I decided to pick up the second book and to see kind of how their love will unfold in this particular book. So in the first book, we have Finley, who goes back to her hometown, which is called Christmas, and she goes back there to spend the holidays with her family. Little does she know that one of her colleagues from her boarding school is actually coming to stay at her grandma's B&B. And so obviously a little bit of a romance unfolds, and there's a lot of cute moments with Christmas vibes. So this book kind of picks up from there and is the continuation of Finley and Arthur's relationship, but this time once the holidays are over and they get back to the winter term. So this book is actually set in winter, which I didn't know. I thought because the first book was set in Christmas, maybe the second book would be set at a completely different season, but I really don't mind it. I started reading a little bit already, and I am actually really enjoying the winter vibes. So far the book is really atmospheric. So Finley goes back to school, and she's expecting to see Arthur back to school too, but when he arrives at school, he kind of acts a little bit different than he acted when they were at her grandma's B&B. And so this is how the book starts. We are a bit unsure why Arthur is acting so mysteriously and what is going on. So this is the first book that I'm going to be picking up this week. The second book that I'm going to be picking up this week is a book that I saved for myself for summertime, and that is Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. So this is also part of a series. I read the first two books in this trilogy. I read Part of Your World and Yours Truly, and so this is the third one from that kind of world. These books in the series, you don't really have to read them one after the other because they're completely different storylines with completely different characters every time, as opposed to this one, which you really have to read after the first because otherwise the story wouldn't make sense. This book follows Justin and Emma, who both feel like they have a curse because every time that they date someone, that person ends up breaking up with them, and then they find kind of the love of their life, they get married and whatnot, and they end up alone. So they decide to date each other to cancel out the curse, and I think that's why the book is called Just for the Summer, because it's supposed to be just a summer fling, and then after that they both move on with their lives. It sounds like an interesting premise. I'm excited to see what I'll feel about it. I really enjoyed Abby Jimenez writing in the two other books that I read from her. I thought she is actually a really good writer, which is something that I haven't experienced a lot in romance books. And so I'm really excited to see if I feel the same way about her writing in this third book of the series. So I'm really hoping to have a very fun week with reading these two books. I will get on reading and then I'll catch up with you whenever I have an update to share. ended up binging this book in a matter of 2 days. It's super readable, although it's not the shortest book. I almost forget that this is a YA romance. This is not an adult romance, and so when I got into it, it kind of struck me that I'm reading something that is a bit more childish. The disagreements in this book between the two love interests are, in my opinion, so dumb. So the book starts with a little bit of a disagreement and a fight between the two love interests who had already gotten in a relationship in the previous book. And we don't exactly know why it is that they're not getting along just yet. They don't really communicate very properly, which I just find so dumb as an adult. I'm like, just ask and just talk. Like, the whole thing would have been resolved within 5 minutes. Now that I remember that it's YA, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. I guess this is what you do as a teenager. You just get swept up in your emotions and you have stupid ways of communicating with one another. Overall, I really like this book. It's super easy to read. It just really put me in the best kind of cutesy mood. It's set in a boarding school, and so it gave me very nostalgic vibes of back in high school. There are comedies for high school dances. They all go on a ski trip with the classmates, and overall I just really enjoyed it. I thought that the connection between the two main characters is really well fleshed out for a teenage romance. I'm reliving my teenage years, and that's what I really enjoyed about this book. It's set in snowy Oklahoma, so it has a very charming snow wintry atmosphere, and so if you're looking for a winter book, I highly recommend this one. I didn't know it was going to be wintry when I just got into it, but I was not mad at it. I thought it was still super cute even though I read it in the spring. And although the story was really cute and I really enjoyed the ambience, I do have to say the writing is cringy. Some of the dialogue definitely felt unnatural, overly dramatized for no reason. Even the main character's internal monologues felt really leaning a little bit too hard into teenager cliche talk, which I feel like only happens in movies and in books, and it doesn't actually happen in real life, and that's not how even teenagers speak. And that, I think, played a little bit into this book feeling a little bit awkward at times. But overall, I really enjoyed it for what it is. You know, I didn't go into this thinking it's going to be the best writing of my life. I just wanted to have a good time, and that's what I got from it. So I also picked up the next book that we are reading this week, and that is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I am on chapter 5, so I literally just began the book, and I'm already loving it. I mean, Abby Jimenez just has a way with writing that, even though you know it's a romance and it's not gonna get that deep, it just is not cringy, which I find very hard to find in romances. So I'm not gonna give too many details because I'm literally just at the beginning, so I don't know much more than the synopsis that I gave you last time. So far so good. We're going from winter vibes to completely summer vibes, which I'm really excited about because the temperature where I live starts to finally get a little bit better, so I think this is going to be the perfect segue for me, and I'll definitely keep you posted on my thoughts on this book. We are done with the second book from this week, Just for the Summer. And why did I love it so much? It was so good. Honestly, I might be a romance girly now, I don't know. It was just so good, and that ending, oh my god. My jaw was on the floor. I kept thinking throughout the whole book how it's really related to the other books in the series. And I don't want to say too much, but when it got to that point, I was just, what? It was really good. I feel like in this book, you can see Abby Jimenez really grow as a writer. Obviously, her writing style was really good in the previous books as well, which is why I really enjoyed them. But in this book, I feel like the way that she structured the narrative, the plot twist, it was just done in a way that you could tell she's been really working and crafting her writing style. Like, I love the circularity of the novel. It starts and it ends in the same way, which I thought was so fun. It was just so good. Remember at the beginning I was like, I don't really like stories about love. I don't really care about love. And now I'm out here fangirling over little things that are in this book. Listen to this. You deserve to be appreciated, Emma. I think I'm just used to feeling like I'm asking too much when I need something. Unless it's Maddie, my mom. You're not asking too much, he said. You were just asking the wrong person. Ask me instead. And this one is so good too. So this is from the perspective of Justin thinking about their love. The love story sold us the wrong thing. The best kind of love doesn't happen on moonlit walks and romantic vacations. It happens in between the folds of everyday life. It's not the grand gestures that show how you feel. It's all the little secret things you do to make her life better that you never tell her about. Taking the end piece of the bread at breakfast so she can have the last middle piece for her sandwich when you pack her lunch. Making sure her car always has gas so she never has to stop at the pump. Telling her you're not cold and to take your jacket when you are in fact very cold. It's watching TV on a rainy Sunday while you're doing laundry and turning her light off when she's falling asleep during reading. Sharing pizza crusts and laughing about something the kids did and taking care of each other when you're sick. It isn't glamorous. It isn't all butterflies and stars in your eyes. It's real. This is the kind of love that forever is made of. Because if it's this good when life is draining and mundane and hard, think of how wonderful it will be when the love songs are playing and the moon is out. I think Abby Jimenez might have brought back the romantic in me. I don't know what to say. I really love the story, and something that I really appreciate with Abby Jimenez is her ability to make her characters complex and not just caricatures of something that would be easily marketed to her audience. I find that in previous romance books that I've read, the characters were so blank. They were so void of any complexity, because I feel like a lot of romance books are written just to appeal to a certain audience, and so the characters are just molds of what the author thinks that audience wants to see. And I think that's why you have very cringy male characters in a lot of romance novels that are written by women, which I think most of them are. It's because it just tries to appeal to the idea of an ideal man, but then it just comes across so cringy on paper. And it's the same about writing women. I feel like a lot of the women that are written in these books are very kind of, she is not the most beautiful in the room, but she's so quirky and her heart is so good. I feel like it's just a ploy to be able to write something that can be marketable and relatable to anybody that will read it. Whereas with Abby Jimenez, her characters are so complex, and I feel like she really digs into a little bit more emotional, psychological aspects of a human being. And especially now that I have read all 3 of her novels in the series, I could really see her ability to write trauma and to write psychological distress, right, mental health issues with so much diversity. There's not one character in all of these novels that I've read that have responded to trauma in the same way. They all kind of deal with difficult situations and very tumultuous family situations, PTSD, all of that, but none of them are the same character. It's not like she just takes a formula for a person that has been dealing with trauma and just copy pastes it on all of her characters, but she really takes the time to unfold how a person might react to certain situations, how another person might react to the same situation could be completely different, and it just depends on their trauma response. And I just feel like she really did her homework with these books. Like, I don't know if she has any background in psychology, but if she's not, then she really did her research about it, and I find that she's doing an absolutely amazing job at unpacking all of these complexities in her books. And it's also not something that is static. It's not like, oh, throughout the whole book, this is how this person reacted to this specific event, traumatic event that happened in their past. It's like, no, these people are evolving and there's a fluidity in their traumatic responses, and they learn from certain things and they get broken down by certain other things. And it's just the most humane way that I've seen a romance writer write a character. If you're not into romance books, just read Abby Jimenez. She might just change the trajectory of your reading tastes. So this week I read 2 books. I read a YA romance, So This Is Love, and then I read Abby Jimenez Just for the Summer, and both of these were really, really enjoyable reads. This one was definitely a bit cringy, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the dialogue in here is just straight out of Tumblr. I did really enjoy, however, the setting. I thought it was really cute and very nostalgic and just brought me back to high school memories type thing. And then this one is an adult novel, and it was wonderful. I love Abby Jimenez. I love this entire series so much, and I just cannot wait to read more from her. I can't believe I'm saying that. I cannot believe that I'm actually anticipating reading more romance books from her specifically. This was a very fun week. I'm very happy I picked romances for this week. I feel like they really helped me get into a spring summer vibe and just made my whole week so much more brighter. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.